Chapter 1158 of the One Piece manga came out the other day. The chapter was full of more lore to the One Piece world. We got one of the most insane reveals in Moria being a Kosuki, and you guys had your thoughts and made sure to let me know about them. But before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe. We're closing in on 60,000 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. I'm sure you won't regret it. We got some good vibes over here, and I don't think you want to miss it. It was theorized around 7 years ago by some redditors that Moria is a Kosuki who changed his name because Gecko, the correct and canon spelling of Moria's last name, when written in verse, is literally Kosuki. Nice to see that theory confirmed. This also explains why Imu/Gorosei ordered Doflamingo to kill him post Marineford, because he is a Kosuki, so he might be able to read poneglyphs. You know, I actually completely forgot about that. I was having second thoughts about this actually being referring to Gecko Moria because I was getting flamed in the comments for assuming it. But no, this actually tracks. In Marineford, I remember a scene of Dofi absolutely frying Moria, and he's like, "Why are you doing this? Who told you to do this?" And Dofi said, "The ones above." Or I think he said, "Someone higher than me." I think it's something like that. But this also gets me thinking, because it's kind of ironic that Doflamingo was ordered to do that, but they could have easily done the exact same thing to Doflamingo himself. We all know by now that Dofi actually used his bloodline as leverage against the world government. What if the Gorosei or Imu just told Mihawk to go kill the guy? Obviously, I don't think Mihawk is about to do that. Mihawk goes on his own terms. But Dofi isn't really that crazy of a fighter. Honestly, it just gets you thinking, because there were definitely opportunities for Dofi to just get overthrown by Imu. But yeah, beside going back to Moria, this reveal was kind of weird to me. We've been in this cover story for like, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 months. I really don't remember the exact date we started, but it's been pissing me off how terrible the cover story was, and we finally get this. I remember seeing just absolute glaze on the timeline about being patient. Are we serious right now? Did we really wait 5 to 6 months to get Kosuki Moria in a cover story? This is what we waited for? Honestly, beyond the initial shock factor, there really isn't anything else there for me. Moria was a bum when we saw him, but this makes him a little bit more cool in his prime. I guess it's kind of cool to think about how maybe he fell from grace, but honestly, I just truly don't care. Is this really what Yamato's cover story was for? This is the 40th cover, by the way. Harald drawed with rocks. Both use swords. Mihawk upscale. This is beautiful. I put this in the thumbnail of my chapter review, and people were talking about it in the comments. Yes, everything is a Mihawk upscale. I've been said this. I explained it, I think, maybe a month or two ago, but Mihawk is upscaled by this not because of his title. I think people get that wrong. It's actually because none of them have a black blade. There is no cope about them not being swordsmen, because Rocks literally is introduced with swordsmanship. So we have a swordsman with actual swordsmanship and unique swordsmanship skills with no black blade. That's a Mihawk upscale. Now Harald, on the other hand, I think he's kind of weird. I'm pretty sure giants have their own unique swordsmanship as well. I remember seeing somewhere that Big Mom mastered it. I think it was like Ikaku. Maybe I'm yapping right now, or maybe I'm not. If it's on the screen right now, I'm not yapping. If it's not on the screen, yeah, just roast me in the comments. But yeah, I think people misunderstand why everything is a Mihawk upscale. I looked in his replies and I see someone talking about how Harald got low diffed. What are we reading? Harald and Rocks literally drew. That was the entire point. Honestly, these other people we're discussing things with is just kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Harald is a rat. No wonder Shanks wanted to talk to him so bad. Alright, so this is actually something I wanted to talk about. I'm pretty sure the title is going to be something worded about this. But Harald's actions this chapter are kind of interesting. On first thought, when I read the spoilers, I thought that Harald was kind of justified for actually trying to take out Rocks. I mean, after all, he's a king and he wants to create peace and yada yada yada. But at the same time, Rocks was actually spitting this chapter. Rocks told him straight up, they don't trust any of you and they're going to use you guys for military force. This is funny because that was literally happening at the time. Last chapter we had an entire page about Garp complaining about them not being part of the world government. The top part of the page was literally propaganda. They truly do not trust them and they're just going to use them. That was the entire point. There's also the fact that Harold's trying to join a force that's genuinely being tyrannical. This was last chapter as well. Harold saw them firsthand and attacked them. Now on the other hand, people don't really give him grace for this. It's the fact that this is a system that's been in place for hundreds of years. Rocks is probably like the first one in hundreds of years to try to overtake it. And that's exactly what Harold says. He's not going to follow him into a losing battle. No one has overthrown the world government, and even though they're all bums, that's just the way it is. And so as a king, the best thing he could do is set his people up for success. If they're a member nation, they cannot be attacked like that one nation we saw last chapter. That's the entire point. Now, is Harold right? Maybe not, but there is nuance to all of it. For the second and last time, Harold is a king. If he joins Zebek in trying to overthrow the world government and they fail, they are done. His entire country, everything he's been building up, everything, it's done. Call it cowardly, call him a rat, but at the end of the day, Harold is a king. I just had to say that again. Really good chapter, and I'm glad God's Valley was not a goon first. I'm guessing what Garling found was an ancient weapon which Rocks will also want for his plan. Yeah, so going back to 1156, Rocks tells us that he's after 2 devil fruits, and one of them is most likely on Elbaf. The more interesting thing is the fact that Rocks says Harold needs to eat it for his true power to come out. And then at the end of the chapter, he says that Elbaf is the key to bringing down the Holy Land. But with the latest chapter, he no longer has access to Elbaf at all. He can't get the devil fruit he wanted, he can't get Harold to eat the devil fruit, and finally, he can't get Elbaf to just side with him. So, alternatively, like the comment said, Rocks might need an ancient weapon. It was kind of implied in the same chapter actually. Rocks had already told the crew that he needs the Gamblrr giants, and if you remember the lore with them, I'm pretty sure the Gamblrr giants are the ones who created the ancient weapon Pluton. Rocks was actually planning to use Harold to get Gamblrr on their side. Maybe now what Kaido said before can be put in place. He told him that, what if we just force them to side with us with strength? And then he said he would do the same with Harold, but Rocks kicked the crap out of him. Now he doesn't have access to Harold to get it easily, so it's not out of the question. These things are getting crazy though. To be honest, I have no idea what to expect for God's Valley. Based on the portrayal of Rocks so far, I'm very much concerned for what Oda will cook for God's Valley because Rocks isn't the bad guy. I'm very much concerned for what Oda will cook for God's Valley because Rocks isn't the bad guy Roger and Garp needed to team up and take down to protect the Celestial Dragons. And I'm scared we're gonna get another case of the Aspo no Mi. We had a reply to this and it said, "Glad I'm not the only one. I don't see a situation where Roger and Garp team up to kill Rocks. The whole thing about them fighting over Shaki is stupid because we just saw that they respect her. Rocks is a really cool guy, not the kind of soul out there, but definitely not what we thought he was. The whole situation would be that both of them tried to save her if she was even stolen. I see 2 possible scenarios. 1, Roger and Garp didn't even fight Rocks. They were fighting Garling, Holy Knights, and possibly Emu. The world government just covered everything with Garp saving the day because nobody except Sengoku and a few people know about Roger working with them. 2, Rocks gets Domi reversied, and Roger and Garp had to team up to beat him because he got much stronger with Domi devil powers. Yo, this is kind of cool. Alright, so regarding what happens on God's Valley, I think it was pretty obvious at this point that God's Valley isn't about Shaki at all. We just got confirmation that something is on God's Valley that Garling saw. It's not Shaki. And also, Rocks isn't about to fight over Shaki because he has someone else and he just had a baby. However, it's not a 0% chance because the glaze on Shaki just continues to happen. It's annoying me at this point, but you know, maybe there's some setup there. Moving past that, I never really thought about it, but yeah, this makes sense. Sure, Roger and Rocks are rivals at sea, that's true, but would they really just kill each other? I remember during the God's Valley flashback during Kuma's backstory, Roger says something about how he was feeling over the past year. Surely there was a score to be settled there. I do think that was the precedent for the fight, but there has to be something more for them to just kill him. And even worse, he teams up with Garp to do it. Now, I was gonna completely dismiss the first point the comment said about Roger and Garp not even fighting Rocks, but then I remembered that Loki claimed the world government killed Rocks and he didn't say anything about Roger and Garp. There is the possibility that something like that happened, because at the end of the day, the only people who actually want to kill Rocks, and we know this firsthand, is the world government. Also, I mean, come on, Garp does not care about the Celestial Dragons, and even less does Roger. I think finding out more about Rocks' personality and his relationship with Roger and Garp and all this stuff, it really makes sense that this might just be propaganda. Also, again, I mean, come on, Rocks' crew is by far the strongest on the seas. There is zero way Roger and Garp took them all. I mean, come on. I always looked at this fight sideways because I was like, how is this even possible? But now we know this might not have even happened. But going into the second point about Domi Reversi, this was a kind of cool concept, but at the same time, I mean, bro, the boost from Domi Reversi is ridiculous. We saw it transform giants into the size of ancient giants. For reference, this is a baby ancient giant who's not even standing compared to regular giants. Yes, the comparison is ridiculous. Now imagine doing that to Rocks of all people. Look, again, it's a very cool concept, and to be honest, the fact that it's been set up in the story kind of makes this theory a little bit more believable. I just don't see a world where Rocks D. Zebek gets boosted by Emu, then loses to Roger and Garp. I just don't see it. Maybe that's just me, but I mean, come on. Y'all can let me know your thoughts in the comments though, because that's definitely a really cool concept. What is even the egg on Roger's ship? Rocks didn't mention it at all, and it's on Roger's ship when he went to Hachinosu. And Roger at the moment knows nothing about Laugh-Tale, which he finds out at Lodestar, or the Void Century, which at earliest he could know about from Rocks at God's Valley, meaning the egg has either 1, nothing to do with the Void Century, or 2, 100% does, and Roger just happened to collect it. Alright, so this is something I completely didn't notice, but it was in my face. We see Rayleigh on the ship by himself because he didn't want to go see Shaki. There's a huge egg on the ship. Now, I actually added this comment to the video because I have no idea what this egg means. The only time I've heard of an egg in like the theory space is about Luffy coming out of an egg. And other than that, I feel like I heard it in Oden's flashback, but maybe I'm bugging right now. Anyways, you guys need to let me know what this egg means in the comments because, bro, I didn't even notice it. And like I say in basically every One Piece video I make, I'm not a theorist, I don't know the lore, so you guys gotta let me know. Harald over Garp and Roger. Loki can't be as strong as Harald yet. Alright, so I have to come clean. I'm a man of honesty and I'll be completely real. I was completely agenda driven when I saw the spoilers and when I made that chapter review. No, there's literally no way Loki surpassed Harald because that would mean Loki surpassed Rocks. That would also mean Loki surpassed Roger and Garp. Like this, let's be real here. The pushback is of course the fact that Shanks fried that guy. And me personally, I'm not against the idea that the current gen is over the old gen. But not to this extent, like let's be real. If this were true, you have to think about it like this. It's Shanks over Loki, over Rocks, Roger, Garp, Harald, and all of them. That makes no sense. So yes, I can admit when I'm wrong. I was bugging, okay? I was bugging. But what I will say is that I'm still not wrong about the Admiral thing. I saw pushback in the comments, and of course people can't really connect the dots. But I'll say it right here. If Rocks and Garp have been clashing multiple times, and We know they have because they encounter each other in God's Valley, and Rocks knows about Garp's ideology. That means Garp is stronger than the random admiral that Rocks killed like 20 years ago. The reason this is important is because, first of all, we know verbatim that the current Marines are stronger than ever, and two, the OG 3 admirals are all relative to Garp. I don't know what is so insane to these guys. But whatever, I think I got my point across. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.